As of next Thursday, it may become even more difficult for news outlets to post news content on Facebook. The Trudeau government's bill C-18 passed in the Senate and is now on its way to Parliament Hill to receive royal assent. The bill would force Meta to pay news organizations, including Bridge City News, for their news. Now, Meta, which owns Facebook, doesn't want any part of that. Political reporter Brian Lilly joins us now from Toronto to talk more about it. Now, Brian, first of all, explain in more detail what Bill C-18 is all about.
It's called the Online News Act, and the government's desire or purpose in bringing it in was to get big tech companies like Google and Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, to start paying news companies for the content they provide to these platforms, for the links. Now, there's been an argument about whether this is the right way to go. Most of the money, apparently, according to an analysis by the parliamentary budget officer, would go to the big broadcasters, CBC, CTV, and the like. And then the rest of us would all get a little bit, comparatively speaking. But the idea was make the big tech companies pay news something for their content. It's been tried in Australia, France, the UK. The US is looking at a similar bill with cross-partisan support. It's sponsored by a very conservative Republican and a very liberal Democrat. Everyone looking to do the same thing. The unfortunate part is here in Canada, like in Australia, Facebook said, you make us do this, we're just going to block news content. And they say they're better at it now than they were when they tried this in Australia.
So, Brian, how can this bill potentially hurt news organizations, including where you are at The Sun and for us here at Bridge City News?
It's definitely going to be a hit. Once upon a time, I did great business, great traffic on Facebook. Since Donald Trump, since towards the end of Trump's administration, Facebook has downgraded political content. So while I used to do great traffic, I don't anymore. So for me, it's not a big outlet. Anybody that does political news, you don't get a ton of traffic from Facebook anymore. But if you're doing local news, like you do at Bridge City News, if you do sports, entertainment, if you do lifestyle at all, those are the things that still generate an awful lot of traffic for news organizations across the country. And that's going to disappear. What will be even worse is if Google goes forward, because while Facebook is big, Google is multiple times larger than Facebook when it comes to generating traffic. Unfortunately, the bad news is that Facebook has decided to go this route. Personally, I would have preferred a private sector negotiated settlement between the companies and the news industry. That didn't happen. And when it comes to Facebook, it hasn't happened in any country until they've been forced by government. They have to get their hand forced to come to an agreement. Google's a bit better at that. So Facebook is the first straw. We'll see if Google goes next. If so, there's going to be a lot less news out there for Canadians to consume online.
Thanks so much, Brian. That was political reporter and Sun columnist Brian Lilly, who joined us from Toronto.